looking up, because I know you'll take the time to look up Moss Dalrymple to see what this gentleman was just speaking about. Also take the time to look up Gene Trish, that's Trisch. You can see what happens when regulations and zoning goes too far, when people want to just take property for whatever purpose. You don't want to find that by looking things up like that. We, in Houston County, a lot of rural folks down there, and we have dirt in our blood, we have freedom in our hearts. And as a veteran, I can tell you this, veterans did not go to war to put up with this kind of stuff. Yes, sir, you're right. We can't just allow people to do everything they want to do. There are laws to protect that. But when a man owns his property, if there's something on it that's offensive to somebody else, then you can put up a fence. But I don't feel like anybody has the right to come along and say, we're going to fine you. And this is what has happened to a lot of older people. That's who the people have been attacked for this previous regulation. I don't even know what you refer to it as, but they've come along and threatened people with $150 a day fines. You can find that on the internet too, facts, not gossip and rumors. In Houston County, this will not fly. People down there may not have the education, but they sure have a good grip on their belongings and what they've worked for, what they've fought for. And on behalf of Houston County, I'd ask you folks to vote against this. Thank you very much.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I thank the gentleman, and I understand that I'm a veteran, 82nd Air Force Division, Korean veteran, and I love this country like everybody else. And one of the things I fought for was the right of self-expression, the right to have citizens vote to decide what they want to do, as you suggest. And I don't think this bill changes that. And I just could not avoid letting you know that I too am a veteran, and I understand what it means to be a veteran. Jumped out of those airplanes and stuff to see that. I can't walk now, but then I.
That's why you're so short.
Well, I appreciate that, sir, but unlike you, I was on the ground, I was in tanks, 13 months in Vietnam, paid my dues. But as far as what you're saying, this bill, the way it's written, is going to allow county commissions to make changes on people's property. People have lived there for a long time. And they can write their own laws, whatever the county commission wants to do. That's the problem I have with it. That's taking away our freedom, not giving it.
You mentioned something about citations. Can you give us an idea or an example of what's happening in your area that's affecting?
Well, we have Todd McDonald, who's come down from Shelby County, by the way, and he's just written, I'm glad to tell you that, our zoning regulations, thanks to him, went from 66 pages to 130. Most restrictive thing that we could ever imagine having. That's in the city of Dothan. Now in the city also, just the week before last, under Todd McDonald's guidance, they wrote a 20-year long-term plan, which includes, amongst other things, I'll get the citation, but which includes, amongst other things, if you can believe this or not, 10 homes per acre in the city of Dothan. As far as restrictions, really and truly, we go back to the rewrite of the zoning laws. I don't have them here with me, but I'll give you a good example. You cannot, as that was rewritten, if you are in the lawn care business, you cannot have in your driveway where it can be seen your lawn care equipment trailer behind you. If it can be seen from the road, where people drive by your house, you cannot have it there. You can find someplace else to park it. That's just one of many, but there's a lot of things that are just overly restrictive. If you have a home business, you cannot have anybody in your home. How are you going to run a home business? Let's say you're a barber or something like that, but you can't have a customer in your home. It's ridiculous. And if you'd like, if you'd give me your email, I'll be glad to send you the entire copy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Dillman.
Yes, sir. I live in rural Macon County. Chairman, thank you very much for your time, and legislators, committee members. I am too military retired, and thank you for your service, sir. As I said, I live in Macon County, and not to run this down too long, and I'd like to support a lot of the comments here, I have a copy, and now Macon County is very, very rural, but we do have a comprehensive plan. And we have a zoning ordinance that's in the works. And let me read this to you if you've not heard of some of the potential of what this House Bill 181 might provide. An ordinance in pursuance with the authority granted by Act number 2001-562, enacted, okay, we can skip that, to the establishment of districts within Macon County, Alabama, to regulate, listen to this please, to regulate within such districts the height, number of stories, size of buildings, and other structures, exactly what the gentleman was saying.
You're talking about out in the county, correct? Rural areas.
This is Macon County, yes. The percentage of lot that may be occupied, the size of yards, and other open spaces, the density of population, number of houses, and the use of buildings, structures, and land. And to provide methods of administration of this ordinance and penalties for the violations thereof. Macon County can't even, and we say we have an ordinance already in place to handle some of what we're talking about today. Macon County can't even pick up anybody for littering. And now we want to expand the authorities and give them to the county commissioners. On that note, I would like to thank you very much for your time, and please vote no for H.R. 181. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Joyce Perrin.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Joyce Perrin. I'm from Bullock County. I just wanted to bring up a few things. By trade, I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a veteran, but I also was in real estate. I'm glad to say as a real estate market going down, that is a very difficult thing to do. Bullock County is one of the more rural areas in the state. We suffer some of the same problems as Macon County does. I moved from Blount County about 9 years ago, and they suffered the same kind of things where we saw a lot of these enactments coming. I can tell you as a real estate agent and as a nurse, we can take health and safety. You will not believe where we can take health and safety. Health and safety in the real estate market goes to the point that we can't even sell houses unless we do specific tests on our houses for lead paint, of which we don't even have a good statistical level of lead paint results information. But we take that to the nth degree because we were given that right to do that. And the regulations are done by people who are appointed. And so now we have regulations on homes that we can't sell because of regulations that have to do with health and safety. In nursing, we have the same kind of thing. I can look across the room and look at where you live, and I can decide that we've got to regulate everything in your house because it's not safe for you. I can do that.
I do hope you won't sell me a house with lead paint on it.
I don't sell you a house with lead paint, and I wouldn't sell you a house with lead paint.
But you
But
want
what
the
I
right
am
to.
saying is that we carry regulations to the nth degree. I'm saying that we go beyond what is reasonable. No, we test for lead paint and then we treat for lead paint. But what I'm saying is what happens is when we started that law, it sounded very reasonable law. Now we have people who have to be certified to test for this, and they have to be licensed to do this and licensed to do that. And so now you can't take care of your own home with these problems. You have to pay 10 times the price to pay somebody else because we decided to regulate it and do that. And I'd also like to say that I know a lot of us have lost our Alabama history, and there's been a lot said about old history. But there's an old history book called The History of Alabama and Her People that was written in 1927. I'd be glad to get you a copy of some pages in this. But in 1868 to 1874, after we came out of the Civil War, we had a lot of problems in this state, and we wanted to handle them at the local level, and we thought that was a great idea because we have federal, and then we have state, we have you guys, and we slow this process down so we can think about things, so we don't do rash things like we're considering letting happen at a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting that I go to. It's never well attended. But in this history lesson, we let the counties, we let them do some things on their own. We let them go in and decide how they would tax. We let them go in and decide what they would put in hock so that they could tax some things and get some things in their counties because we were poor at that time. And if you read this, we've already done this. Every one of these counties went bankrupt. every one of them. And it took them another 50 years to pull themselves out. So if you want a history book that can show you how to do this, I'll make sure you get it. But we have to consider these things. In my opinion, we have a federal government and we have a state government, and we have you guys. And I know at the local level, because I go to the county commission meetings and I go to the city council meetings, and you guys know too, they are not well attended. They are very hard to get people out to. And when you hand this kind of power to those kind of situations, then you are asking for things that go way beyond. And we'll have 67 different laws in this state on how to handle things. And I hope you'll vote no.